Hello and welcome to Graphic Design 1. I'm going to be going over our first lecture, which is a slideshow. So we're going to be going over the introduction, the syllabus, my expectations, and what a brief will look like. So my name is Martha Ray. I have a master's in art and visual communication design and a bachelor of science in media art and animation. I have over 10 years of experience in the design industry, working as a photographer, an animator, a motion graphics artist, a graphic designer, and a little bit of everything else. When I'm not working, I spend time at home with my husband, Curtis, our dog Brownie, and our two kittens, Petra and Nix. I'm an avid gamer and creator, so I am always finding new ways to explore the art that I have gone into. For our course, the objectives are going to be to introduce you to the fundamentals of graphic design. We won't go into huge detail on this, but we're going to do enough that you understand what the fundamentals are and have enough of a grasp to create things. We're going to introduce and help you master the basics functions of Mac OS. Now, I want to be clear that I am normally a PC user, so there will be times with the Mac OS that I will have to look things up, or I have a cheat sheet on my laptop that I use for class. So just know that sometimes I'm not going to be able to pull exactly how to do something on a Mac because I don't use it on a regular basis, and I have never actually used a Mac in any of my creative endeavors and jobs. They have always been PCs. So we will be using Mac in class, but do know that there are some differences between the two, and there will be occasions where I will have to look that up because I just don't use it all the time. So I'm going to help you better understand how digital platforms help in graphic design and where you fit into that and how it will fit into your career, because I do realize that not everyone is doing a digital media design. Also, if there was a weird noise in the background, that was my cat. So this is also to help you, we're also going to help you develop the fundamental skills needed to see and understand graphic design and the software that the industry uses. So in our case, we're going to be using Adobe InDesign, Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe Photoshop. So we're going to find out how those work in the industry and how those softwares in general work and how they can help you with whatever it is that you're going into. For this class, you will need a digital camera. You can use the camera on your smartphone. Just make sure that when we do take photos that you have it on a high resolution, which we will talk about in class. You'll need a small sketchbook to sketch out your designs, and you will need two textbooks, Graphic Design, The New Basics by Ellen Lumpton and Jennifer Cole Phillips, and Thinking with Type, A Critical Guide for Designers, Writers, Editors, and Students by Ellen Lumpton. Requirements for this class. So there will be 3 major projects, and there will actually only be 2 design briefs. All assignments should be turned in before class. Class starts at 6 p.m., so they need to be in Moodle or sent to me over email before 6 p.m. And if they are not, then you need to talk to me as soon as you get to class so that we can sort out the problems that you are having. So as that says, if you are having issues, let me know as soon as you arrive in class. Be respectful. If others are talking to me or you are late, please use good judgment and don't interrupt. If you are late to my class and I am already lecturing, then you need to take your seat and raise your hand. And as soon as I reach a moment where I can answer you or it's a natural stopping point, then I will find out what is going on and answer your question, or we will talk. Um, if your assignment isn't turned in before 6 p.m. and you haven't talked to me, then your assignment will be late. The longer you wait to turn in your assignment, the later the assignment will be, thus affecting your grade. So the longer it takes you to turn your assignment in, the more points I'm going to take away from it for it being late. And those points cannot be gotten back in this class, which you will understand that sentence as we continue through this. Um, if there is a reason your assignment will be late, please email or text me as soon as you can so that we can work out a solution. Hardware and software issues are not normally an acceptable reason, but if you are having an issue, let me know, as I am aware that hardware and software is not always under our control. So if Adobe updates and it corrupts your file, which has happened, you need to let me know as soon as possible so that I can help you fix it. And we might be able to salvage. I know a lot of different ways to fix problems like that. But if I do not know ahead of time, then I cannot do anything to help. So reach out to me, let me know, and we'll do our best to sort things out. Okay. You need to back up all of your assignments on at least 2 devices, so you can use a um, USB stick. You can use an external hard drive. You can use cloud storage. You can use Google storage. anything, whatever works for you, but it needs to be in two different places. This is a good practice in everything you do on a computer, and it is industry standard. You do not save something in one place because that single place could get corrupted, it could get lost, and you don't want to have to redo your work. Prior to each project, you will fill out a design brief. I will outline the information you will need to provide. Once the brief is submitted, you will not be able to change it without my permission. So, your brief is basically what is going to give me the information to know what you're trying to create, and it's what I'm going to use to grade you. So if you tell me that you are going to create a logo that is round representing psychology and you're going to use these colors and this kind of stuff, then I'm going to use that for the basis to grade you. So changing it, you need to talk to me so that I can agree to those changes to make sure that it still fits within the parameters that we have established you're going to be working in. Your brief should be written at a professional level. Points will be taken away from your grade if they are written poorly. I want to add into this that if you use AI to write your brief, I will speak to you and you will have to rewrite it. Whether it was or it wasn't, if it sounds like AI wrote it, then it will have to be rewritten and you will get one warning. After that, it will be a 0 automatically. We are not using AI in this class. The things that you do in it need to be your work. Participation and attendance, you do have a participation grade in this class, so you must attend each class. The software taught in this class is not easy to master, and the time in class is used to explain and demonstrate how to use it properly. This cannot be done if you are not in class. If you miss a class, you are responsible for making up any assignment or classwork. I want to emphasize that this software is hard. It is not easy to master at all, and I am teaching you very quickly. If you need to miss class for um, a family matter or your car breaks down or any of that kind of stuff, you need to let me know because you're going to have to make up what was done and you may need to come in early or come in or stay late to get extra help from me to catch back up depending on where we are in the class. Um, if you are doing athletics, class trips, you're going to an award ceremony associated with EMU, that kind of stuff, you are not penalized. There is no problem. You just need to let me know that you're not going to be in class so that I can let you know what you need to work on, what you need to fix, so on. We do have work days built into our schedule where you guys will be working on your assignments in my classroom so that you can ask questions and I can guide you. These softwares are not things where I can get up in front of the class and I can show you how to do step by step how to create something. You are going to have to work on your project because everyone's going to be doing something different. So that these work days allow me to help you individually with problems. And also sometimes you guys bring up problems that I haven't thought of as things that you might need to know, and I will tell the whole class, and it's a good way to just make sure we're covering all bases because there is so much in these softwares to learn. I cannot teach all of it in 8 weeks. um, if you will not be attending my class, you will need to let me know as soon as you can via text or email. Do not wait until our next class or a week later. I will not change your attendance status. So if you have a flat tire, I understand that you need to call a tow truck or call a friend or someone. But as soon as you have done all of the mandatory things of alerting, a tow truck, calling emergency services, any of that kind of stuff, you need to get on your phone and you need to send me a text or an email saying, hey, my tire went flat. I'm trying to sort it out. So on and so forth. If you do not email me, and you wait days on end, you lose your attendance status, so you'll be considered absent, but you also lose participation points for that day. Um, in the real world, when you have a job, you have to call in, you have to let them know when you're not coming in, and this is preparing you for that. So um, it's kind of like the no call, no show, no job kind of thing. Because a lot of companies, if you don't call to tell them you're not going to be there, they fire you. So keep that in mind that this is just trying to reinforce that in the real world, we have to let people know what's going on. Um, so my class is not for hanging out with your friends. It's not for going and getting dinner. It's not for any of those kind of activities. You need to be paying attention, asking questions, and focusing on what we are learning. The software taught in this class is not easy, and you have a short period of time to learn everything that is needed. I know that sometimes it can be daunting to ask a question because you feel like you're asking a silly question or one that maybe is already answered. I want to answer all of those questions. I want to make sure you know what is going on in my class. So do not feel like your questions are stupid, dumb, anything like that. Every question is valid. This software is hard. It's a lot to remember. You will see in class that there are times that I can't remember things that need to be done in it, even though I do them fairly regularly because there is so much information. So there will be times in this class that I will say to you, give me a sec, I need to look that up. And it's because there is so much stuff in my head that sometimes I can't pull out those tiny little things. Even in my job, when I have worked as a designer, if I can't remember how to do something in a short period of time, as in like a couple seconds to a minute, I'm looking it up because I don't have the time to waste. And because we have a short period of time in our classes, we have an hour 3 times a week for 8 weeks. If I can't pull it from my head within a minute or so, I will look it up for you and explain it to you. So ask all the questions you have. If I can't remember all of it, I don't expect you to remember all of it being brand new to it. When I am lecturing or speaking to the class, you need to be respectful. If you need to ask someone something, raise your hand. Otherwise, you should be quiet, listening, taking notes as needed. Um, I do not allow you to be on your phone in my class, but if there is something on a slide, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, I am okay with you getting your phone out and taking a picture of the slide. I do, however, expect you not to be texting people, not to be making calls, not to be on Instagram or other social medias. I don't expect you to be sharing pictures with your classmates, getting up out of your seat all the time, and that kind of stuff. This is a time to be focusing on what is going on. You're not to be on your phone, you're not to be wearing headphones, you're not to be talking to your classmates or being generally disrespectful. Your participation grade includes your behavior in my class. I expect you to act like a grown, mature adult. Um, on work days that we have, I am okay if you chatter quietly with your friends. I'm okay if you're listening to the critique I did because I do video critiques on artwork and you have your phone out listening to my critique. I do not have a problem with you wearing headphones on work days, but when I am lecturing and speaking, you need to be listening and being respectful and paying attention. Okay, so in this class, we will have two critiques. We will have a critique on your logo, and then we will have a critique at the end on your resume and business card. So the critiques are a fundamental part of design, and every project in this class includes a class critique. So critiques are not an adversarial activity, so we're not against each other. We're not going to be fighting. We're not going to be angry. We're going to be understanding, and we're going to understand that what people tell us and what they say about our work is not them criticizing us or telling us we're bad. It's them looking at it from a different set of eyes and saying, this is how I would do it, which helps us to push our designs further because sometimes there are things we don't think about that other people do that can really make our design excel and be much better than what we originally saw in our own minds. Um, so instead of being an adversarial activity, critiquing is a way for artists to help each other expand their scope in design. As a presenter, you will tell the class about your project. This includes what you created, what inspired you, what message you were trying to convey, and what challenges you faced. So if you're creating a logo, you could say, I created a logo for, I have Reese cups on my desk. So I created a logo for Reese cups. I was inspired by other chocolate brands that seemed fun but weren't quite what I wanted. The message that I want to convey to my audience is that Reese cups are delicious. I want them to eat it. I'm using colors like orange and yellow to make them hungry and to make them feel like they need this product. What challenges did I face? That yellow and orange are really hard colors to work with, trying to figure out a way to represent a Reese cup that was appealing, but also didn't feel too drab because there's a lot of browns involved. So that kind of stuff. And if you need help with this, you can always talk to me. You can write this stuff down. So if it's in your head, but when you get up and present, you get scared or you become shy or it's just hard for you to remember. Trust me, I'm not personally a huge fan of presenting in front of people, which kind of makes everyone question why I decided to become a professor. But life's a challenge. Might as well take it up. Write stuff down. Put it on a note card that you can hold, or find a way to make it so that it's easy for you to remember. Some kids in my classes before have written it down in the notes section of their phone so that they can remember, because they kind of forget when they get up in front of people. Um, I write everything down in slideshows that I present to you guys, because otherwise I don't remember everything. It's just a human thing. We don't always remember, and when we get up in front of people, we tend to forget. So please feel free to write it down. Do what you need to do to make it easier on yourself. But these are the kind of questions I want you to answer and present to your classmates. Now, the rest of us are the people who are critiquing. So what happens is that I will select randomly the people who are going to get up and present, and then I will select one student randomly to critique that student. So there is no rhyme or reason to how I select you. I literally make a list, and then I just kind of look at it and go, well, this is the winner. So you need to be prepared. Every single person who presents, you are going to be looking at their work, and you're going to be choosing one thing that you like about that piece, and then you're going to say, I like, so back to the Reese cups things. I like that you use the color orange. And why? Well, because orange is a really nice color, and I know from reviewing the psychology of color that orange is a warmer shade, and that makes us hungry, and it makes us want things more. So I feel a need to buy Reese cups because they're in this packaging that's desirable. So you don't have to go that in depth. I obviously have 10 years experience in graphic design, so this kind of stuff kind of just flows out of me. But look at things, and do not answer with because I like it. So you need to have a reason. If you like that it's the color blue, that's great. But why do you like that it's the color blue? Is it because it feels calming? Is it because, it reminds you of the sky outside? Why is this something you like? Think about that as they're presenting. And then you need to be looking for things that you would fix, because you're going to tell me one or more things that you would fix. And this isn't to tear anyone down. So no one is perfect. We all see design differently. Things you guys like will not be things that I necessarily like. Um, there may be colors that you guys think are fantastic that I think are ugly, and that's just the nature of human beings. So don't feel like because someone says, I don't really like the color orange, so I think I would change it, then that's not a critique on your work or what you've done or you as a person. This is literally them just looking at it and going, as another designer, I would do this differently. And as the person being critiqued, you're going to listen to what that person has said, and you are going to take it kind of as something you could look at, something you could experiment with. So, say you're looking at my Reese's bag and you're like, I really don't like the shade of orange that you've used because it's really dark, it feels kind of overwhelming. Maybe we should try a peachy orange, because then it's a little bit lighter, a little more airy, that kind of thing. And I will go, okay, yeah, that might be an interesting thing to do. So I will then pull my design up later after class and try and see what happens with that color. You'll find that when I do critiques on your work, because I will do a video critique where I will take your design file, I will go through, I will tell you why things need to be changed, and I will show you how to change them. You will find in some of that some of the design choices that I make are personal preferences. Some of them, and I try to tell you guys when it's a personal preference for me, just looking at it and going, with my design style and stuff, I would do this. But there are some things you will have to change. Just note that if I say it's my design style, or I'm suggesting maybe you change this because I personally don't find it great, I would explore that idea, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to change it. If you're unsure, ask me. I'll let you know. I know that when I get to critiquing, sometimes I kind of, especially when I'm doing your videos, I'm trying to do 20 things at once, so things can get a little confusing. But just know that no one in our class is criticizing you as a person or your designs. They're just trying to help you see it in different lights to help you design it further and push it to new places. So during critiques, while other students are presenting their projects, be respectful. You need to be paying attention, looking at the design, and figuring out what you like and what you would change. I call on students randomly and you may be called on. If you have already done your presentation and you have critiqued another student, this does not give you the right to talk, ignore what is going on, or be disrespectful. I will not hesitate on calling on you if I think you aren't paying attention, even if you've already critiqued another student. Being disrespectful will affect your participation grade. So, you may have already done everything for the class. My advice is to continue paying attention, to continue looking at those designs, looking at what you would change, and just answering those questions in your head. Do not start talking to your buddy. Do not start banging on things. Don't get your phone out. Don't put headphones in or any of that, because I will call on you every time. And if you continue the job, I will make you critique every single assignment that goes up, because you need to pay attention. This is a learning time. So even if you aren't the one critiquing someone's work or you aren't presenting, this is a time to look at other people's work, see what they've done, take ideas from them. Like if you see someone's logo and you really like how like the colors they used, it might be something you can integrate into your project. Maybe you like the layout of their business card or something of that nature. So keep that in mind as we're doing this. This is as much, every single project is a learning experience for you as much as it is getting up and presenting. I am fairly lenient on critique days, okay? If you get up and you present, you critique someone's work, and you sit and are respectful, you get 100 points for that day. That's the whole assignment. That is the same amount of points you get for turning your logo in and for turning in your business card and resume assignment. So you will have two of those that you have that all you have to do is show up, present, critique, and then be respectful. So don't waste those points. Okay, so in my class, every student or every assignment we do except for project 3. So project 1 and 2. So project 1 is a logo, project 2 is that you're going to take a photo of yourself and then you're going to cut out the background. Both of those can be resubmitted as many times as you need to resubmit them. So what happens is you need to turn your assignment in on time, even if it's not finished, because as long as it's in on time, I will not take late points from it. Afterwards, I'll grade it, critique it, and you can fix it, resubmit it to me, and I'll give you more points. If you still don't have as many points as you want, I will tell you what you need to fix again. A lot of times through a video edit or a video critique. You will then fix that stuff and resubmit it to me, and I will then give you more points because I want you to learn how to use the software. I want you to learn how to design in it. My goal is not to just look at you and say, nope, you didn't do it right. Tough luck, move on. So I will allow you to resubmit and I will give you grades because I do want you to continue working on it. I want you to continue to perfect it, to learn how the software works. So you can get your grade back to 100 as long as you don't turn it in late. If you turn it in late, then the late grade, so any points I take off for being late, you cannot gain back by resubmitting. I also want to remind you that when you resubmit stuff, that it is graded as I have time. So if you resubmit your logo on the same day that you've submitted your Photoshop file for your photo cutout, your logo will have to wait until I grade the Photoshop files because they come first. I do my best to regrade things as quickly as possible, but things come up. Great example, last class, I was late to class the first day because I'm trying to remember, something happened. I got stuck on the mountain because I live in the other valley, so I have to drive an hour. I got stuck in the other valley. Then the next class, I was on 81 for an hour and 45 minutes in an accident and I was just stuck. And then later in the semester, there was a family emergency in my family that meant I was out for a day because a family member was in the hospital and I was trying to sort some stuff out. So these things will happen. I will do my best to keep things graded, but do remember I am human. I have a family. I have people I have to take care of and so on. So if you think maybe I forgot, you can remind me, but don't be at like in my emails like every day. Have you looked at this? Have you looked at this? Have you looked at this? Because it doesn't help any. Okay, so these are my expectations. I know we've already gone over some of these, but I'm going to go over them again because it's important that you understand. So you are in my class to learn about graphic design and the software/hardware used in the profession. You will not be on your phone during class. You may use your phone to get codes to access software and hardware. Otherwise, your phone will be put away. And by put away, I do not mean face down on your desk. I mean it'll be in your pocket, or it'll be in your backpack or your purse or wherever. But it is not out where we can just flip it over and look at it. You don't need to be distracted by your phone. You need to be paying attention. You will not disrespect me or your fellow classmates. And by this, I mean screaming and yelling. I mean telling me off. I mean disrespect. If you do, you will be asked to leave and you will forfeit your participation points for that class. If you continue to be disrespectful, I will escalate the issue wherever it needs to go. So, my advice is if you get irritated or annoyed, take a deep breath. Ask me if you can go stand outside the class for a few minutes. If you need to walk around the building, just tell me. I understand. I get frustrated too sometimes. And sometimes I get really annoyed. It's partly why I have Mountain Dew and chocolate with me every time in class. It's because there are things that are calming for me. So, if you feel like you're having a bad day and you're gonna get annoyed in class, and having, I don't know, a squishamole or something will help, then bring it in, and feel free to squish it and whatever to make yourself feel better. But don't go the route of screaming and yelling at me or your classmates. Don't cuss, don't do that kind of stuff. Just let me know you need a minute, and you can go stand on the hallway, you can go for a small walk, that kind of stuff. I understand we all get mad about things, but don't be disrespectful. When I am lecturing or explaining something to the class, I expect everyone to be silent and listening. You may raise your hand to ask questions, but interrupting will not be tolerated. So, when I am lecturing, some of the things I'm talking about are complex, but I am also trying to stay on topic. I am trying to get everything I need to you, trying to remember additional things I've thought of and that kind of stuff. And when people are talking and I have to stop and say, "Could you please stop?" Talking to your friend, I lose my train of thought. I lose where I am. So I will not tolerate that in my class. I expect you to act like mature adults and listen to what I'm saying. It also helps you in the long run because you hear what I'm telling you when I'm explaining software. You learn where things are. All of my classes will have a video lecture to them. So if you miss it in class, you can watch it, but I can't guarantee that everything that's covered in this video lecture will be the same as what I cover in class because they're two different times. So they're not duplicates. Listening in class is important. Just, I know, you don't really want to hear my voice that much. I don't want to hear my voice that much, but just listening is important. This is one of the things that I was referring to that you could get your phone to come out to take a picture. So get your phone out to take pictures. We are using a proper file naming format. Every one of your files needs to follow this format. So it's first initial, last name, underscore project number, underscore assignment name, underscore class abbreviation, underscore year. So an example is my name is Martha Ray, so it would be M Ray underscore project one underscore self promotional poster underscore VACA 142B underscore 2024 would be the current class we're in. Yours will say either logo design, um, image cutout, or business card resume, and then project 1, 2, and 3. Okay? If you can't remember this, take a photo on your phone. Write it down somewhere that you can remember it because you will use this all through my class. I will not accept files if they do not have the proper naming format. Um, if you submit them with the improper naming format, you will receive a 0 and I will notify you as soon as I see it and your work will be considered late. And I know that that sounds harsh, but when you work at a company in design and actually in a lot of other places, I know like accounting companies do it, I know insurance companies do it. There's lots of companies that do it. They have a naming format, and the reason for that is so they can stay organized. This is for me. If I have 13 students who all turn in logo design 1, I don't know whose is whose. And I can't, it makes it harder for me to grade them. It means I don't know whose design belongs to who. And it's just a massive problem. I download all your submissions at once. So there's a thing in Moodle that allows me to do that. It allows me to see it all. Don't don't make my life harder is one of the big things. And don't make your life harder either. This means you can then search your computer for it when you need it. It makes it easier for all of us to find our stuff. So keep that in mind. When you're submitting an assignment, make sure you read what is required. So I will post exactly what I want you to submit. So if I ask you to save your workout in a PDF, JPEG, or PNG file format, you only submit your work file. So I'm always going to ask for your AI file. I'm always going to ask for your Photoshop file. And when we do InDesign, I'm going to ask for a packaged file, which will include your INDD file. I always ask for another file format besides your work file. If you do not submit the PDF, JPEG, or PNG, you will lose points. Okay? If you turn those in on a critique day without the proper files, I cannot put your stuff in the critique because I don't put up your work files for critique. I put up the PDF, the JPEG, the PNG, whatever it is I'm asking for. So please submit the appropriate file. If you do not, then the critique grade will be a 0 because I don't have what I need to allow for your file to be critiqued. On our first critique, if you haven't turned in the right file as you come in the door, I will try to tell you what to submit. But when it comes to the other files, I will not do that. Okay? There isn't a critique on your PSD file for your cutout, but I will still take points off if you don't supply me with the JPEG or PNG. I don't remember which one I asked for right offhand. But make sure you read the assignment. Make sure you read what is due. Also, be aware that Moodle has a file size limit. So every single assignment will say, if you cannot submit on Moodle due to file size, please email it to me or upload it to Google Drive and send me a link. Okay? So when your assignment comes due, if Moodle will not accept it, you do not need to ask me, can I email it to you? You know that the sequence of events is if Moodle will not allow it because it's too big, email it. If email will not allow it, Google Drive it, send a link. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I've had to go over this a lot. So, finally, I'm going to go over how to write your brief because this is important, okay? Because you're going to be writing 2 of these. So, a brief is a short summary, so a paragraph, maybe 2 if you have a lot to say, but it is a short summary, so a paragraph. About what you plan to create and achieve with your assignment, you need to answer the following questions in your brief. So the objective of your brief is you, in your own words, writing what the assignment is. So if I ask you to create a logo based on the job that you are going into, you would write, I am going to create a logo representing the career path that I am following to be a graphic designer. Yours will obviously be different because you are going into something different. I then want you to research what, so we're going to continue on the graphic design logo just as an example. So yours will be different, but the graphic design logo is what we're going to follow through with, okay? So I want you to research graphic design logos. I want you to look at colors that they use. I want you to look at shapes they use. I want you to look at the general logo design. And I'm going to pull something up really quick so you can understand what I mean. So let me grab this real quick. So I'm going to grab Google here. And research is where you go into Google and you type in graphic design logos. And we have all these logos. And if you go to images, if you're on Safari, it's similar but not quite the same. And here are all these graphic design images. So it's just different design ideas. You can look at these, kind of pull from it what you want. So do I want it to be colorful? Do I want it to be less colorful? Do I want it to be modern? Do I want it to be, eclectic? And then you can type that in. So graphic design logo. So I decided, okay, I want a modern graphic design logo, and I can put ideas after it, and I'll get stuff like this. So you see there's lots of different things. So now I need to think, like, do I want to go with like an animal because there's a hummingbird here, there's a monarch, this looks like an owl, or do I want something that's more kind of like this, where it's like using actual like pen tools and that kind of stuff? Like, this is an interesting idea where you use a pen tool with your initials in it. So you're going to kind of build on that. So if we decide we want a modern animal graphic design logo idea, so you can continually narrow down your ideas. You're going to research, you're going to find what you like, and you're going to kind of narrow down. And then you're going to write in your brief about what you researched and how that shaped what you're going to create, and tell me what you're going to create in that as well. So then you're going to tell me about your tone and your message. What do you want your viewers to feel when they look at your design? What message are you trying to get across to them? So if I created a graphic design logo, I would want them to feel confident. I would want them to feel calm with me. I want them to feel like I know what I'm doing. So my message is, I am a good designer. You can trust me. But I'm trying to make them feel confident, calm, those kinds of things. Additional information. If you read over your paragraph and you feel that you have not described adequately what it is you want me to know about your logo, then you need to add additional information. So anything you feel might be helpful for me to understand your project better, you include as additional information. I will grade your briefs. I will send them to you. I will let you know if there is a problem. And if there is, then I will ask you to add more information so that we can have the clearest idea of what you're creating. Okay, I apparently didn't add one of the slides. I want to put this out there. Do not write your brief with AI generation. Okay? We are not using AI in this class except for one way, and that is in Adobe Illustrator, and I will explain that when we get to Adobe Illustrator. If you submit a design brief that I feel sounds like an AI wrote it, I will contact you and I will ask you if an AI wrote it. And either way, if you tell me they didn't, that's fine. If you tell me you did, that's fine. You are going to have to rewrite it either way, because this needs to sound like you wrote it. It needs to sound like you, like a human, like there was some insight put into it. This will only happen once. If I get a second brief from you or an assignment where you had to write and it sounds like an AI wrote it, you will immediately get a 0. There will be no questions asked. Write your stuff yourself. If you're struggling to write it, the university has a writing program that you can go and you can talk to them. They will help you. They are excellent. If you need that information, please feel free to email me. It's also located in my syllabus because I always include it, even though there isn't a huge writing component in my class, because I feel that it's extremely important to know where resources are. So if that's something you need, please reach out to me. I will happily give you the information, or go look in the syllabus. I actually even think it might be in my class as well. Yes, so there's even a link in Moodle for the writing program. So if you need help with that, use it. It's there for you to use. Don't feel bad about it. All of us struggle. I struggle with writing. I'm sure you've seen mistakes in this slideshow. I know I have. So do not feel bad about it. Just do your best, but stay away from AI. I do not want them used. I want you to create your own ideas, put them on paper, because that is the most genuine way for you to develop your design and to find where you're going to be going with it. Okay? If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. Um, Feel free to text me. Do know that if you send me an email, I check it about twice a day, so in the morning and the evening. If it's urgent or an emergency, you may text me and I will check it sooner if I can. I do not have my school email on my phone, so I don't check it as regularly as I do other emails. Um, You can also talk to me in class. That's fully acceptable as well. I'm usually at school as long as 81 or 11 doesn't have an accident. I'm usually at school about 15-20 minutes early before our class, and I'm willing to stay after class. Usually I'll stay about a half an hour, 45 minutes if needed, but I try not to stay too terribly late because I do have to travel back across the mountain and I prefer to see as few deer as possible. So that's everything. Thanks for listening. And again, as always, if you have questions, please reach out.